And we're live. It's Whiskey Watches the Wheels, and we are back, baby. It's been like legitimately 3 weeks. It seems like forever. I'm Matt, gentlemen.
Casey.
I'm James.
Kevin.
Man, strap in, buckle up. It's gonna be a long one tonight. It's gonna be so long that we may even break it up in a couple of different episodes. We have a lot to go over because we haven't been. I mean, this is literally the third week that we haven't recorded, just because of a multitude of issues. So first of all, missed you guys, even though I just saw you last week. But let's just start with the first. So let's go in order of things. So
It'll be either James or me because we did.
Yeah, the two of you guys were both on Aircooled rallies. James went to Target, Carolina. You went to Smokey's Aircooled. Let's
James,
let's
you
talk
go first
about
because yours will be short. So go ahead.
You
don't even remember what you did. Yours will be short because
I don't remember.
It's
gonna be short.
I'll play the part of James. I drove a car. Done.
I ripped. I made it home. End of story. Now,
go ahead, James.
Let's see. Target, Carolina was 3 weeks ago. It was relocated to Snowshoe on short notice based on the damage to the infrastructure and the houses and people from Helene. So Charles had to switch that out, and he did it in 4 days, which is amazing. So instead of heading up to Little Switzerland in North Carolina, we headed up to Snowshoe in West Virginia. So probably a 2.5-hour drive turned into a 6-hour drive, but we did it. We raised some money. I think this was going to be the largest Target, Carolina, with a little over 100 cars. But in the end, I think we had almost 60 as far as
That's still a lot of cars.
With the location change. So just received an email today from Charles that we raised a significant amount of money to donate to the area and to the people in Little Switzerland Inn. So he has a long-standing relationship with all those folks. It was family run until recently, and all of the workers there have been there a really long time. So we specifically wanted to generate some donations and such to go to them, knowing that we were thinking of them. And, we wish we were in North Carolina spending our money, but we did it in West Virginia. I was there earlier in the year for the Rucklos rally, which was great. So similar roads. The main difference this time around, and I just the traffic was a little heavier this time around, but still killer roads. And it was good to get people out there. And I think that it was a fantastic rally. And it was my birthday weekend, which was good. And thank you guys for the rum cake. That was great. And I enjoyed it. It is now gone. So
now mental note, I know you ate it all, but you can freeze those. They freeze quite well.
No, once it goes in my freezer, it never comes out.
There you go.
Stock all the money that he has in there.
So Target, Carolina. So everything 911s, 912s, 914s, everything
all air-cooled. It was
all
air-cooled, so it's not specific to say torsion bars or anything like that. So you had I think did we have a couple of 914s maybe we did. I can't remember this time around.
You can all up to 993 then. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, there were a couple 993s, 964s. Lots of G
Did
bodies.
our friend go there? The one that we just had on a podcast ago?
Yes. Yeah, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
Josh was there. Absolutely. He's a riot. And,
Which, speaking of Josh,
green hood.
I saw on his Instagram, he picked up the new Speedmaster with the gold indices. It's freaking sharp.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
With the patina built in. Yeah.
It was good.
Wine set wear.
Wine set wear, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he picked up the brand new Speedmaster. I saw it on his Instagram the other day, and it looks sweet.
Yeah. West Virginia is beautiful. If you haven't been there, I know I said it when I was doing a Rucklos recap, but it is really beautiful. The weather was perfect. Getting up in the morning was quite cold. You had the mist, the fog, all of that. You had to kind of warm up your tires, So we just had that, obviously, with foreign being so cold and so late in October. But it was really good. I can't really think of any kind of incidents that I need to really worry about. I led, and then late on Saturday, just kind of passed it on. Leading can be stressful.
Kevin knows
that. Yeah, Kevin knows that. And, with the apps, it works really well. So, there's some backup for you. So,
well, give credit where credit was due, though. If Kevin hadn't led that rally, and we hadn't gotten lost, then this might not be happening.
We
right
didn't
now.
get lost.
No, we didn't get lost. No. We missed a turn, and then traffic, and this and that. So yeah, it's not.
If Kevin didn't get lost, I'd probably have more friends
than just the four of us. So.
Okay.
But we might not be here if that hadn't have happened.
Sure,
so
it was. Well, that's the thing is, we had plenty to talk about on our first podcast, right?
Yeah.
So, no,
which has been almost a year ago. Yeah.
So, as far as Targa Carolina goes, I hope that it's back in North Carolina next year. A lot of the roads that we've in towns that we drive through, drive on, lots of damage. And I just hope that some of it is back to normal so that the tourism can come back, and the people can come back and look at the leaves changing. But right now, I know it's tough. So
Casey and I were talking about this last week. I would love to go to West Virginia and drive some of those roads, but it is such a freaking long drive from Florida. I mean, and we, you talk about trailering a car up there or shipping a car, and now you're in just crazy money. So
but it's not bad because we went to Ruckus and we went to West Virginia. So if you go to Roanoke, didn't we go into West Virginia, James?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's not the worst, but here's the thing: is if we want to run those roads, ship the cars up, and we just go spend a week.
And Casey has a house that is here close enough that you could ship them to.
Yeah, but that's the thing is it doesn't have to be an official rally per se. It's like,
Sure. Yeah.
You don't have to be in a rally to drive your air-cooled or your water-cooled through the mountains. And
there's one less car at Casey's house, so there's room. So I'm sorry, too soon? Is that too soon?
Not too soon. Damn it.
What's interesting is I'd love to run those roads with the water cooled. They're not terribly technical. Lots of fast sweepers, lots of sweepers.
Well, that's what Stacy loves.
There's some of these roads that were just, you could really rip on them. They were tight, but they, not switchbacks and such. So getting a water cooled on there, you get some nice speeds for sure.
Not a lot of police presence?
Well, we do touch into Virginia, and Casey can tell you it is a police state there. So you do need to be careful, but it's pretty chill. It's not a very populated state, so it's not covered in cops.
I wonder what I do when I go through Virginia if I have a built-in radar detector. I can't remove it. I can just turn it off.
Go faster.
Just don't get pulled over.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
That's the thing. Just don't get pulled over. Yeah. I don't know. I think if you inside baseball, I think since Trump was in office several years ago, the amount of cop presence has actually decreased, at least on 81 and 64, the routes that I go, substantially less. I know a lot of those guys get paid overtime to sit there at odd times of the day and such. So perhaps there's not as much money being funneled into those accounts. But it's still, using Waze, you have a pretty good, most of the time it's pretty accurate on the interstates at least, but it's just such a big pain in the dick if you get, 20 over. It's just not worth it. And so, when I'm out playing around, I know what the speed limit is, and I will run up to, 15, 16 miles over and then chill.
It's no different than when we go to Georgia, Matt.
Georgia's just as bad.
Yeah, Georgia's rough. Yeah, it's really bad.
Well, the best part about Georgia, it's a non-reciprocating state. So you get pulled over there, it stays there.
Okay.
Well, that's good. Okay, so while he was doing Targa Carolina, Kevin was at Smokey's Aircooled. How'd that go, bud?
So that was pretty cool. This was my second air-cooled. No, my third air-cooled rally. So show you guys where we actually stayed because that was the best part. So this is the biggest cabin per se. It's in Gatlinburg. and it sleeps over 101 people. So this venue was built, and there's other ones. You can see one in the background, but there's a couple of them, and it was built for like travel teams, like baseball, basketball, soccer, and stuff like that. So every room had a queen bed. I'll flip through these as I'm talking. So the cool thing is we had plenty of parking for trailers, which was great. This is the entrance.
And drivers.
Yes.
You just chose not to bring that many.
Yes. So he wanted it for 27 people or to have our own room, which we all had queen rooms. 2 of the rooms had 6 beds in them. So it ended up being, so when you walk in that front door, immediately through that hall, this is 2 pool tables, some gambling tables. There were small pool tables for some reason, ice machines, stuff like that. There's a bathroom there, water closet. This was a basketball court, half court, which is pretty cool. So we had a guest person. He wasn't on the list that I saw, but Adam LZ stopped by and he stayed with us. So him and his girlfriend were over here playing basketball and stuff like that. She actually beat him a couple times. So this is on the 3rd floor. This is where I was staying, and you can see there's so this is the arcade room, and they had Mario Kart. They had tons of the old video games. I spent a lot of time in here because the best part is it was free. I didn't see this piece right there, but we were the 3rd people to stay in here.
Wow.
There was a glow in the dark nightlight thing, putt. That's the same thing.
So is this like romper room in there where everyone's running around the house trying to figure out what they want to do?
No, not
everybody
really.
chill together.
Again, what we kind of talked about, the group talked about, this is where everybody hung out. It was the kitchen. Everybody hangs out in the kitchen. So
per usual.
Yes, exactly. So again, so this is where kind of the main area where people were, hanging out. I'll flip through these some more. They keep on showing these pictures of the kitchen and stuff like that. The kitchen was awesome. So it had 4 refrigerators in there. I don't know how many ovens it had. I mean, these 2, there's on the island, those are all warming ovens. They're on both sides. Then you have the 2 Viking ranges. We had our food catered in, which Sean from Umlaut was the guy, and Smokey's Aircooled, Smokey's, they put this on. So, I mean, here's the ovens. Again, we didn't have to use any of this stuff because everything was catered in. I mean, just ovens and ovens and ovens. So,
good God,
elevator to the 2nd floor. It was a pretty cool place. I mean, again, nobody really sat at these tables. I mean, there's a couple people, only like the front one. Most of the people sat on the couch. Mm-hmm. I should have washed my clothes, actually, now that I think about it. But,
no shit, yeah. Look at
There's a movie room in there. I did not check out the sound system because I'm not into that kind of stuff. But full movie room. I didn't see anybody. Actually, I should have went in here myself, but because it did end up turning into a kind of a frat house. I felt like at some point, heated pool, and I think I saw that there. There was 6 jacuzzis.
Wow.
So, I mean,
were there many women other than Adam's girlfriend? Was there any women there?
Dudes and jacuzzis.
There you go. There's I think 6 of them or something like that.
Wow.
We use this a lot. So I never knew this, but a lot of the guys, you can take, I guess, Coors Light, the cans, the bottle tops. They would put them in the fire, and you don't make them too tight, and you put them in the fire and they explode, and they make a bang. So yeah, 6 jacuzzis here. And what is this? Outside seating. So this is what the rooms look like. I think a bed, and then there was a Murphy's bed that was pulled out.
Was that Pedro throwing those in the fire?
It was. So yes,
he did that at Target last year.
Yes, he was the one showing everybody how to do it. So everyone had their own bathroom as well, which is great. Wow. On top of I think there's 31 bathrooms or something like that in there, 27 rooms. One of the rooms had 6 beds, queen size beds in it. Let's see if there's some pictures of that. So I saw eventually some people who came that I asked people, like, do you know who this person is? And, I knew about 7 or 8 of those people. And I think it just, like I said, turned into kind of a frat party. So I didn't go in that room. But it was, oh, wow, one of the rooms had a video game in there. That's pretty cool. So, yeah, there's tons of pictures in this. I'm trying to get to there you go. You can see how, oops.
Wow.
I mean, it was, let's see here. So the one thing that with his rallies, there's no routes. You kind of just pick a group and hope that somebody knows the routes. I did trailer my car up there, and because of the storm, so this was after Helene. I went up there, never trailered a car before in my entire life in the mountains, and it took me down. What is it 121?
151?
Nope, I think it's
Anyway.
the Great Smoky Highway. Anyways, it's like
Skyway. It's just like where was it? It was in Tennessee, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was like the mini Tail of the Dragon. That's what it was like for me. Absolutely sucked, butthole puckered all the way down, brakes squealing. I pulled off at least 4 times to check my straps, but it was really to calm my nerves down. Borrowed a truck and a trailer. So I borrowed my friend's Raptor and I borrowed my friend's trailer, and
good
did
friends.
it all by myself. And I could not. So I'm one of those guys that's, I'm on my phone a lot. I had 6 inches between the fenders on each. So I give a lot of respect to the truck drivers now, because now I know why they only allow so many hours on the road, because you have to concentrate. And if you move it a little bit too much and then you sway, that trailer really sways and stuff. It was something. But we did that. I rode with Sean and them. And then the next day, we went to Adam LZ, had a benefit for the victims of Helene. And a lot of the guys were like, we didn't drive. A lot of guys from Miami came, so we didn't drive, 16 hours to hang out in a parking lot. So they took off, and I waited for another group, and they were just BSing. So I took off by myself. And thank goodness I did, because they got stuck behind a pink truck, a line road pink truck. And I did not. I guess I went a different way. Ate at that place that we ate at. And where's that place with the fried pickles and stuff like that? You guys remember? By the Harley Davidson thing.
Oh, yeah.
I was there, sat at the bar. I had my Diet Coke and my food. They came rolling in about an hour and a half later. I was done, talked to a couple guys. Said, you know what? I know my way back to the hotel. I got GPS. So I took Charahola. There you go. Charahola. Skyway. All by myself. Didn't have to worry about it. Was just me. I don't know how to pass. Yep. Took that until I was tired. Like I was just, ripping it. Then I went down. I think is it 121? It's a pretty windy road, and took that down all by myself. Got back to the hotel or whatever cabin before anybody. Luckily, I was smart because they locked the front door and I didn't have the code. And, as you guys know, there's no cell service. So I went around the back and the door was open. So I hung out all by myself. We had cookies, Red Bulls, Gatorades. Tons and tons. So I just kind of hung out by myself.
How do you feel about not having the routes? Is it?
I don't like it. I do like following somebody or leading someone or having a plan route. Because, you don't know. And yes, it was all the same routes that we have been to, but at least I want to have something. For me personally, I'm always looking at my screen to see what corners coming around, so I can kind of prepare myself. And not having that, and especially if you get lost, and because of the hurricane, there was a lot of roads that were closed. So luckily, I just went down, found my own way back. So met a lot of neat people. Go ahead.
Did you? What did you use to navigate with then?
Nothing.
Just Google? Okay.
Nothing really.
I knew how I got to. I did use Waze to get to the to that restaurant, and then from there you just make a left out of that restaurant, and then that's the Chalabar Parkway. Went down there, and then from there got onto the Smoky Mountains Parkway. Did that, and then Googled how to get my way out of there into because that kind of takes you to the backside, and then you're already in Gatlinburg. So. Did that, and like I said,
so this is your third rally though with your Aircooled, right? So were you more comfortable this time around? Were you going in deeper before you break? What was any differences?
Actually, I think I took it excuse me, a little bit lighter, because when you're following somebody or you're leading, either you got to pick up the pace because you don't want to be going too slow, or you're following someone else's pace, and kind of like, for instance, if I know I'm maybe a better driver or the same level as that person, or just that you have the same kind of car that that person has. And if they can do it, you can probably do it. And I know that's not a good way of thinking, because that really does depend. But we're not talking GT3 cars and a base 911 here. We're talking about both air-cooled cars and stuff like that. So I do have JRC suspension, Tarot, everything. So I personally liked it with the Ruckus Rally because, I went behind you guys and you and Dave, and I was like, well, and I'm not ducking away from you guys' driving ability, but I was like, if they're not spinning out, I can do it too.
Sure.
So I did like Ruckus a lot better. And the other thing too is it was kind of it was cool, but I wish they would have, and it actually was brought up a number of times, but everybody kind of just like, oh yeah, we're gonna do that, and they never did. Introduce everybody, like, hey, this is so and so, this is so and so, this is so and so. That did not happen. So I'm curious to see, because I've heard that Smokey's GT is a lot more people kind of the same way. So I'll be going to that. But luckily I did meet some people, and a lot of the Aircooled guys did have GT cars. So then I rushed my ass home because I was trying to get, some guys actually left on Saturday. So the initial was supposed to be leave on Tuesday. I rushed home because we had Milton coming, right? It was Milton
on a Monday.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean, Hurricane Milton came out of freaking. I mean, we talked about how Helene came out of nowhere. Milton really came out of nowhere, and that thing literally.
You guys think you had bad traffic? Seemed like everybody who was probably vacationing in the west coast of Tennessee all came over to Gatlinburg because the traffic was atrocious. I mean, it was so bad. So with that, I rushed back because there was I was actually planning on staying in Macon, Georgia, but I just couldn't live with myself staying at home or staying out, and then have my family and then my friends staying at my place, because my same friend that stayed with Helene was coming back at Milton to stay with us. I just couldn't live with myself, so I hauled ass back home. I went to Macon, picked up whatever left was of water. I went to a Walmart in over by Macon. The shelves were still empty, and I had to still pace myself for gasoline too.
For gas,
so, because that truck only got like 14 miles per gallon.
Right.
Got home.
Was
on
it
a
diesel
Monday.
or is it regular or diesel?
It's regular. Yeah, it's a Raptor. Got my ass home, which is a great segue because then we got hit with Milton. So.
Yes, we did.
James and Casey, you guys didn't have to deal with it, but me personally, I am in Zephyr Hills, so I'm in the corner, like here's Tampa, like this. I'm in the corner over by Lakeland. The eye was right below us. So
you're northeast of downtown Tampa, northeast.
Yes. So we got the west side of the eye until it started moving, and then I got the north side of the eye. So my friend Chad, Kelsey, my parents, their two cats, Kelsey and Chad with their dog, their baby, my family all stayed in our house, and those guys went to sleep. My garage door was literally bowing like this.
Yeah.
And I have my cars in there. We moved a lot of cars to my shop. I literally have my finger. So we have hurricane windows, but I went outside and my wife was like, oh, what's going on out here? The water was squirting through the slats and my garage doors bowing. So my GT3 is in there. And then one of my Aircooleds was in there. And I was absolutely freaking out with my fingers in my ears. When my wife, she knew I couldn't sleep. She came out and like, it's okay. I lost some shingles in my roof. But the bad part was going back to work. So we had 20 inches into our road, the road that we went to I'm only 2 miles away from my shop. And there's a big lots. It used to be like a Scotty's. Do you guys remember Scotty's? It's like a Home Depot. So it used to be a Scotty's and like a Walmart there. So you can imagine how big that parking lot is. That whole parking lot was completely flooded. The road was flooded. And then all of the business around me got about 20 inches of water. And we got up in the morning to go check out the damage. Thank God my two buildings were the only two buildings that did not get any water at all. But we could not get into the building. So we had a caravan, all the employees, they all came to my house. caravan on my Forerunner because I have a diff breather, and my Forerunner's meant for kind of, I did it right, and caravan everybody into. So I almost didn't go to our next rally, which was fair, because I maybe I have a guilty conscience. I didn't want to leave my employees to basically my daughter to be ferrying everybody in. So the water was up to, my door, and she had to drive this truck, and then we do our packaging.
So you still work through this, but you couldn't get to the shop unless you ferried everybody in.
Yeah,
right?
And then we had to ferry all the packages out.
Okay, and then everybody out at the end of the day.
And then come back, where my daughter had to come back.
Where were they parking at? Over at your house?
My house, yeah.
Wow.
And so there's no gas. My welder, he didn't get, so this was, I will say, on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So Friday, I think, Matt, the storm was kind of over, right? I think Friday.
Yeah, by Friday was back to normal.
He didn't get electricity. He lives in St. Pete. He didn't get electricity until Tuesday. We got electricity on Monday, and then I went out and got me a hotspot. And thankfully I did, because when I came back, we actually had internet, because I know if I wouldn't have got a hotspot, I wouldn't have had internet. Got a hotspot, did all of our shippings. We do so many shippings. The rest of the United States and the world, for that matter, they don't care. They're still going to be ordering parts. So then we had to load up the Forerunner with the seats down after she dropped everybody off, and she went with somebody to take them to the UPS store, the FedEx store, drop off all the packages. In the meantime, we had Farron, which was another rally that we all go to. I was supposed to trailer. I couldn't get my trailer out, and that guy, I was supposed to drive the Raptor, but a Raptor is not as high as everybody thinks. Plus, it doesn't have a diff breather, and it's not my truck. So, yeah, that's I take care of everybody's stuff. Even the trailer, I locked it up and stuff, even though there was tons of other better trailers than mine. So I had to drive the GT3 to Farron. So Matt, you guys didn't get, you had a little bit, but not much, huh?
Yeah, no, we, literally up until about 10 hours before it made landfall, they were calling for the I to literally just go straight in Tampa up the I-4 corridor, just like Charlie, up I-4 and just come right over Orlando and hit us as like a Cat 2. And like a lot of hurricanes do, you can't predict these things. People that don't live in this don't really understand, but you can't predict it. And so at the last minute, it shifted about 50 miles south. So which kind of shielded Orlando. We had the northeast quadrant, but it really shielded us from a lot of the main impact. So we had a lot of wind, a lot of rain, but none of the flooding that we had.
The pressure was a lot where I was at. So the pressure was so bad, it actually opened up my father's sunroof on his car. It pushed it and opened it up, because after the next day, I was like, "You left your sunroof open?" And he looked at the knob, and it was actually right where it was supposed to be. I have a big transit van that had parked behind my one-car garage, and I thought for sure the awning, I have one of those awnings, I thought that was going to rip off. I have a one of those like buffeting things for the top, because I have a platform up there. I thought that was going to go. All you heard, one of my neighbors went outside when it wasn't that bad, and he had a wind thing. It was 80, 90 miles per hour. At 2 o'clock in the morning, all of 115 miles per hour. It was pretty, we lost power. Like I said, we had generators and stuff like that. That's the worst. I've lived in Florida since 1993. Worst storm I've ever been in. And I don't, so my father, their roof, they live in a 55 and older community. The roof his carport's gone. His roof got peeled up. There's so many people, just like, if you guys don't live in Florida, there's a lot of 55 and older communities. Floods. Tell you how bad the flooding is. We still have trucks right now, 15 to 20 trucks, big trucks, a day, pumping water from, I want to say Sunday to now. So it's been a week. 15, 20 trucks. All they're doing is pumping water from the parking lot. And it's insane. That's how much water we've had. And there's still, I didn't take a lot of pictures and stuff, but there's a golf course community in our neighborhood, and it looks like a lake. And there's still people, when I drive by some of the places, they can't even get into there, because luckily we haven't had any rain, but it's not.
But we know those golfers are out there still playing.
There's not. It's flooded. So
Well, you literally, no pun intended, but it was the perfect storm for you in the fact of from the flooding because, I was down visiting you, 6-8 weeks ago, and you guys had standing water then, and that was before the hurricanes. So then you had Helene come through, which dumped a ton of water, and then you had this thing. I mean, it was
that's why
inevitable.
we had so many trees, big grandfather trees, blocking roads. And a lot of people with after the storm was over, then the river started cresting. Much like it did in Tennessee and in North Carolina. So it is kind of back. I felt today was actually the first day that it was kind of back to normal. Actually, yesterday we actually could get gas in all the gas stations. I mean,
Wow.
So that's
a 2 weeks to get everything back.
Yeah, 2 weeks, and then like I said, we took off and we went to like I said, I wasn't gonna go to Farron. I did want to see you guys, but again, my business comes first, and
Of course.
Then one of my employees, he went to a wedding and it was supposed to be in Clearwater Beach, which as you can imagine, that would have been gone. So they had it in Clearwater and Orlando and Champions Gate, which is outside of Orlando. So he went to that and I had a long discussion with him and he's like, Kevin, don't worry about it. We got it. So I was very proud of my team that they had a confidence like, we don't freaking need you. Like, go have fun. So it was great. I did not worry about
they were
that.
probably here without you there.
Yeah. So then we did Farron, which we can talk about Farron.
Yeah. Real quick before we get on that,
drove and then we went home.
Yeah, we drove home. This was the first time. It was kind of weird. I'm not a bastard, but when it comes to these storms, and until you live through it, you don't know. Kevin kind of alluded to it. When these things are going along in wind, I'm up all night long with a flashlight. I'm looking at the corner of the house because the suction in Florida will grab the eaves and it'll lift and you'll get water intrusion and stuff,
Wow.
So I'm up all night long walking around the entire house. I drive Stacy absolutely bananas. So
let me ask you a question. What are you going to do?
That's exactly right. I had a water intrusion and I
there
looked
ain't
at
nothing
it. I
you
put a
can
bucket.
do, but I guess you at least like if I know that my back patio, and I see you got some photos, floods to the point that waters are running in, at least you can grab some towels, put them there, maybe slow down the intrusion. There's not a lot you can do, but
it's your shit. You're trying to protect your family.
Right, exactly.
Even if you can't do anything about it, at least you can see it coming.
But I drive Stacy bananas, and so this was the first year. They offer her this every year, and she never does it. But the kids are older now, so my wife's a teacher. They ask her every year to work the shelter, and she never does. And so she did this time. So she was gone for like almost 3 days in the shelter because she teaches special needs kids, and there's always people there with disabilities and everything. So, so she wasn't even here. So it was great, for her because she wasn't having to deal with my craziness. So.
And that's what freaked me out in the garage. I finally went to bed at like 4 a.m. So I had to get in my head. I looked at it. I locked the door to the garage. I locked the door to the laundry room. And I said, hey, I got insurance. If it busts through, that's it. And I finally put earplugs in, went to sleep, and everybody else was like, yeah, we went to sleep. We were fine.
Yeah.
So is this hurricane season over? Or what
I think so.
I think it is. I mean, there's still some storms. I don't think it's going to affect us, but it technically goes to November.
Yeah.
It's like November 3rd is the last day or something.
These two rallies that were affected by it, like luckily you guys were able to get up here for foreign, but it's not the first time that any of these rallies have been affected by it. It's just same time of year. So
I will say this though, man, and the older I get, I'm a Florida native. I lived here my entire life. I'll be 50 next year. So the last 50 years, the storms are getting later and later in the season.
Yeah,
I don't remember them, ever really hitting October, mid-October. I mean, it was usually like, a July.
August and September because it was so freaking hot when your power goes out. That's how we know.
Yeah.
At least this time, no power, I could still sleep. But it used to be August or July, August. When in Florida, super muggy, you feel like you're just drenched. And that's what everybody said when we were, my neighbors, they're like, well, I guess we got to take the good with the bad. At least it's not 90 degrees outside or 98 degrees outside with the humidity of 90%. and we
Right.
have no power. So we
Only a true Floridian though knows the magic that's the day after the hurricane, because all the humidity is gone. The
Best
temperature is
weather.
about 15 to 18 degrees cooler. You're like, oh my God, this is so nice. It's
Mhm.
literally the calm after the storm.
Well,
Yeah.
we get that weather. I don't know if Casey gets that, but when you guys have those storms, the next day for us is gorgeous.
it just sucks it all out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So like Kevin said, so then we had the water cooled rally, or the anything rally, Farron, the one we all go to every year. And it was, hey gang, just a little bit of housekeeping. So as we discussed earlier in the podcast, this episode went really, really long. So we decided to go ahead and break this thing up into a couple different episodes. So please come back next week. You'll hear all about our Farron rally and our trip over to the Porsche Experience Center. So again, thank you very much for listening, and we will talk to you guys later on. All right. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.